This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution, and today I am joined all the way from Beaujolais, Mee Godard, a rising star in the world of a revolution in Beaujolais wines. How are you today, and how is your afternoon?
I'm very fine, thank you, and I'm quite fine. I will start this week the pruning, but right now I am at my office. So
Oh, fantastic. And you actually live in Beaujolais now. You live on the estate.
yes, exactly. This is my office. I am at the estate. Yes, exactly.
Superb, superb. Now, your background, I believe that you went to school in Oregon, of all places, and you spent 3 years there. You did a degree in biochemistry and a minor in enology.
Just to explain a little bit about what I've studied, I was in a bachelor degree in France, in
I
Lyon,
see.
in biochemistry. And since I wanted to do enology program, I make an exchange in the University of Corvallis, so Oregon State University. So for my bachelor degree, I did this exchange because this university had a program in wine science.
I see.
So I went over there to pass my bachelor. And since I knew all the teachers, one of them proposed me to stay for a GRA, Graduate Research Assistantship. So
Right.
I stayed 2 more years in food science and technology because it's the way it works in the US. So you have to go to a program of food science and biotech to study wine science.
And how did you find the differences between studying wine in France, studying wine and making wine in France, and studying wine and making wine in the US?
So the program is, I would say, broader in the US since you have to study food science, and we don't have the same in France. So the enology program is focused in the wine field. So you can have different courses about wine or what can help you in the wine industry.
I
So
understand.
that will be the big difference, the main difference.
And then you moved back to Montpellier.
Yeah. So when I after the master, I wanted to do my enology program in France. So what we call a Diplôme National d'Œnologue. So yes, for 2 years, 2 more years. So which was more focused in the wine science, some of the viticulture, but it was yes, focused in that.
Now, in 2012, you purchased, let's see, what did I have? 5 hectares, so 12 acres in Morgon. My question for you is why Beaujolais? Because I believe you were living in Beaune in Burgundy before that.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Actually, I had a coup de foudre for this region. I find the wines really nice and underestimated.
Yeah.
The landscape is beautiful, and the general atmosphere in the Beaujolais is really nice also. So I just say to myself, because I want to for tasting over there at different estates. So I just discovered this region like this, and I just said to myself, if one day I have to make my wine, I will go in the Beaujolais region.
Now, I have a question for you here because I was looking at the 3 different climats that you purchased in Morgon, and there's some
Mhm.
pretty prized sites there. How did you manage to get a hold of those amazing plots?
So it went. The buyer wanted to buy 5 hectares and plus the buildings. So it was how do you say that? A law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It came as one. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I didn't have other choice than taking 5 hectares, because 5 hectares it's quite a lot. I would have started with 4 hectares, if it would have been possible, but 5 hectares, I said, okay, let's go. We'll see what we can do with that.
So I'm interested as to your inspiration behind purchasing these 3 climats in Morgon. Who made wines that you really looked up to? Who gave you that inspiration to make the wines that you do today?
It was more, I would say, with the different emotions I had during my professional tastings.
Right.
Or professional or non-professional, I would. I had big emotions with some Bordeaux, with some wines of La Loire. And so I don't really know what made me go in this kind of philosophy. So my philosophy is more to make vin de garde, but I liked the density, the texture, the fact that you can feel, you can keep the wine, but you can drink it. And so all these not parameters, but characteristics of the different wines from which I had an emotion makes me go in this direction.
I've read before that you have a great love of tannin, and tannins are not really a thing that one immediately associates with Beaujolais. However, with your path towards these vins de garde, you're definitely extracting a fair amount of tannins in your wine, because these are wines which are meant for the long run. How do you go about doing that, both in the vineyard and in the winery, to get these wines that will age for that length of time?
I would say in the production, it will be more low yield. I mean, it's not low as extremely low yield, but reasonable low yield to have a good quality of grapes.
Now, what are you talking about low yield there? What would a low yield be for you?
For me, it will be what I want to reach is more 40 hectoliters per hectare. Knowing the density in Beaujolais is 10,000 vines per hectare, so it's like Burgundy. And so I felt like it was a good yield, average yield, knowing that in fact I think it's lower. My yield is lower in the average. I would be more at about 30 to 35 hectoliters per hectare.
And you have had some quite bad hails in some years that have badly affected your yields, I would imagine.
Yes. In 2016, 17.
Yeah.
18. It was the worst was in 17.
Now,
the 16, the hail was more on Corcelette. That's it. So it was a 30% loss. In 17, 50% loss. This year we had some hail, but it was not a lot. So it was quite good, but we had some frost and we had some rain. So
well, it's always a challenging region to make great wines in. I know that. Now, here's a question for you. You've spoken about these low yields in the vineyards. But when you harvest the fruit, what do you do with regards to your whole bunch, destemming, and your aging of the wines that give the wines this amazing longevity?
I would say since I consider a vintage to have an equilibrium for all the grapes, I would say. And I like also to have uniformity in making the wine and not to have parameters which make disturb the feeling of the terroir. Yep. I try to give a direction to the vintage, so to have the same amount of distill in a tank, because all my winemaking is one plot, one tank.
Yes.
It's parcellaire. I don't know in English.
Yeah. We can do parcellaire.
Yeah, okay. So that's good. So parcellaire, and so all the grapes are treated about the same. I try to make about the same, but it's not exactly the same. So all the grapes are going on the sorting table to make sure that there is no disease or things like this. And after, when it's in for the maceration, I make a lot of extraction, as I told you. Yes. So it can be foulage, pigeage, and remontage, but it depends also really on the testing of the tank. Every day I test the wine and decide what to do with for each tank. And so the maceration is about it goes to 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's a nice long time.
Yeah, depending on how the fruit react. And after pressing and for the aging, it's aged in. They are aged in wood. So 228 liters, 500 liters, 600 liters, and I also have some food. So 18 hectoliters and 30 hectoliters. And so it lasts, depending on the vintage, from 9 to 12 months.
So would it be fair to observe that you have a much more Burgundian approach to making the wines of Beaujolais than many others in Beaujolais?
It sounds like this. I don't. Honestly, I really don't know if I do like a Burgundy style, but it seems like I do like this. I mean, some people, professional, tells me it's more like Burgundian style. So I guess it's Burgundian style.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the vintages of 2016 and 17. I was aware that between 2015 and 17, you chose to go through the process of becoming organic in the vineyards. How did all of that come about?
So I wanted to work in the organic way since the beginning, but in 2013, when I started, I was alone in the vineyard, so it was quite difficult to work on it.
You did everything yourself, right?
I would say pretty much everything.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, so I didn't have any time to work on organic, so the organic way, but I started really to work on it in 2016. So when I had the opportunity to take someone to help me in the vineyard during summer. So And after I didn't want to go fast because since I have old vines, I just wanted to make sure that what I do is done correctly and it doesn't hurt the vines.
When you say old vines, you're talking about vines that are around 60 plus years old right now?
Right now it's more 80.
80?
Yeah, 80 years old.
That's pretty old. I was under the impression that they were around 60 years old. That's impressive. And I can understand why the yields would be lower with those. Wow. And you have also expressed some interest in moving into the biodynamic field.
Yes, but it will. Yes, I think I have already done some experiment, but it was a few experiments. So I cannot say anything about biodynamics since I don't do it seriously and with a certain frequency to see really the differences between plots and in the plots, I would say.
I was thinking about your greatest challenges in producing gamay in Beaujolais, and we've spoken about the hail as being one of the pressures. How are issues with fungal pressure?
It depends on the year. Honestly, for the different vintages I worked in the Beaujolais, I would say some year was really hard, like 16. We had a really rainy spring.
Yeah.
And I thought we wouldn't have any grapes if it wasn't nice during July and August. And we had a good summer, so we had some grapes to harvest.
I guess that's an advantage to having Gamay over Pinot Noir, though.
Yes.
With the thicker skins, right? So it's. Yeah.
But and for the vintage 15, it was quite hot, so we had only 5 treatments. So it's really low for the region.
Right. Okay.
Depends really on the year and the pressure.
Now, as if you didn't have enough on your hands with 3 climats in Morgon and your transition to organic, in 2017, you purchased another plot in Moulin à Vent.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'm interested as to why you did that. That's
actually, I did that because I really wanted to have some Moulin à Vent. Right. I really like Moulin à Vent. When I started to think about creating an estate, I wanted first to be in Moulin à Vent with some Bon and maybe other appellation, but my first focus was on Moulin à Vent. But I had 5 hectares of Morgon. I said, okay, that's not too bad. So I decided to go on Morgon and if I had an opportunity to have some Moulin à Vent.
Fantastic. Now, I'd like to get your answer to this question as a closing question. In your mind and personally from your tastings with your wines, what are the similarities and differences between the 2 appellations of Morgon and Moulin à Vent?
I would say I don't know so much about Moulin à Vent since I have only one plot. So I work only one plot on one terroir, which is sandy soil, the equivalency of Morgon Corcelette. I would say for the comparison of these 2 similar terroirs in 2 appellations, Moulin à Vent, it's much more airy. Do you understand? Airy? Aérien?
Irony?
Aérien. It's it seems like it's less concentrated in tannins, but the tannins goes at the end in the mouth.
Okay, okay.
And Corcelette, the Morgon Corcelette with the same in the same type of soil is much more concentrated, I would say. A full mouth. This is, and after it's really, I would say it's really interesting to see the differences. And at this point, I say, okay, I know why there is the appellation system.
I understand. I understand. Well, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and giving us some insight into your wines in both Morgon and Moulin Avant. And hopefully we'll see you again on Good Food Revolution at some point in the future. Maybe at some point when the world opens up, we'll see you over here in Toronto, Ontario.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Oh, bye.